A Shundo is the greatest thing you could get in Pokemon Go. This is a perfect 100% IV shiny Pokemon, and I currently have 10 of them after 10 years of non-stop gameplay. Safe to say they're pretty hard to get. So today I'm going to give you the top strategies to get a Shundo this year in 2026. Starting with quite possibly the hardest way to get a Shundo, just catching it in the wild. Fun fact, I've caught 332,000 Pokemon lifetime, and I have never once caught a Shundo in the wild. And that's because the odds of catching a 100% IV Pokemon in the wild is 1 in 4,096. And that's because there is no IV floor in the wild, which means a Pokemon could spawn with 000 IVs. Also, the wild spawn shiny rates are around 1 in 512. So the odds of catching a Shundo in the wild, not boosted, not during a special event, is 1 in 2,097,152. Hence why I've never done it before. I don't have 2 million Pokemon caught, but it's technically still possible, and I know some of you maybe have caught a wild Shundo. The best way to do this is just getting one of these bad boys. A Pokemon Go Plus or some sort of auto catcher. I'll have a link in the description that will have, like, if you want to get one of these, and just having it on all the time, so you're always catching Pokemon in the wild. That's the best way to do it, but this is the worst way to get a Shundo. The next best and also kind of worst way to get a Shundo is catching weather boosted Pokemon, and that's because of the weather boost, their IVs are boosted. So the IV floor is 444 of a weather boosted, and the Hundo odds are 1 in 1,728, so much better than regular spawns. Shiny rate stays at 1 in 512, which means the odd of a Shundo when catching weather boosted Pokemon is 1 in 884,736. So a little bit better, still very difficult. I've never done it. Next strategy we have is catching perma-boosted wild shiny Pokemon. And these are Pokemon like Onix, Scyther, Bronzor, Sneasel. They basically just have a perma-boosted shiny rate when spawning in the wild, and that is 1 in 64. So really good shiny odds, but again, the Hundo odds are still 1 in 4,096, which means your Shundo odds of a perma-boosted shiny Pokemon is 1 in 262,144. So technically, with my lifetime Pokemon caught, I could have got a Shundo this way, but I definitely don't have 332,000 perma-boosted Pokemon catches. So this does make getting Shundos easier. So if there's ever an event where a perma-boosted shiny is spawning more in the wild, like a Go Fest or a Spotlight Hour or a Community Day, although I guess those are already boosted, it's worth going out and catching as many as you possibly can, because you never know, you might get lucky. But today's video is not about getting lucky, it's about getting Shundos, and the strategies I'm going to cover are going to really get you one. Like catching Pokemon during event-boosted event spawns. So this is like Go Fest, Go Wild Area, Pokemon Go Tour, the big events that happen like once a quarter. And during these events, shiny rates are boosted somewhere between 1 in 64 to 1 in 128. So even though you'll get way more shinies during these events because there's more spawns, there's more higher shiny rates, it's like just more playtime, your Shundo odds in the wild are still 1 in 262,000 to 1 in 524,000. So higher odds, still kind of difficult. Next strategy is special research. And this is great because in special research, your IV floor is 10, 10, 10, which means the odds of getting a 100% IV is 1 in 216, much higher than anything else. And because it's field research, the typical shiny rates are somewhere around 1 in 64, especially for boosted ones, which gives you Shundo odds of 1 in 13,824. It's starting to get more possible now. And the best chance of getting a Shundo via field research, which actually a lot of other YouTubers have done, is by playing on special research or field research event days, where basically for 3 hours, a specific Pokemon is available to catch in field research, and the field research is super easy to complete. And typically during these events, the shiny rates are boosted for field research, so you have even a better chance of getting a Shundo. Although, looking at my Shundos, I have 12. Oh, well, why didn't they load before? I thought I only had 10. Moral of the story is I've never gotten this in field research. Then we have egg hatching, which, check this out, I actually got this Shundo Emolga, right, out of a 7-kilometer egg during Pokemon Go Fest, and this Shundo Crown Eevee also during a 7-kilometer egg during Pokemon Go Fest. And that's because when hatching eggs, you also have an IV floor of 10, 10, 10, giving you a 100% IV chance of 1 in 216. Typical shiny rates are also around 1 in 64, although during specific events like Go Fest, the shiny rates can be boosted, but Generally speaking, if you're just hatching normal eggs, the shiny rate or the shundo rate is still around 1 in 13,824. Although again, if there is a special event happening where the shiny rates and eggs are boosted, they become very overpowered for shundo hunting, which is how I got two. Literally, like, this was on the 30th and the 31st. Like, this was like back-to-back days with the shundo. That was crazy. Next up, raids. Specifically, the Dynamax raids and regular non-legendary raids. For these, the IV floor is also 10-10-10, so 1 in 216 100% IV odds. And the shiny rates kind of vary. I know in regular raids, like Tier 1 and Tier 3 raids, the shiny rates are around 1 in 64, somewhere in there. And then Dynamax raids could be 1 in 64. Sometimes they're 1 in 20 if we get very lucky with like Dynamax or Gigantamax legendary raids. Sometimes I think they're full odds, like 1 in 512. It's kind of all over the place. Generally speaking though, Dynamax and Gigantamax raid battles are kind of an okay way to shundo farm. You definitely want to do them because they're helpful and useful, but the shiny rates are kind of all over the place. For regular raids though, Tier 1 and Tier 3, your shundo rates rather are also around 1 in 13,824, just like with egg hatching and with field research. The only thing with raids though is that they're really expensive to do. So if you want to shundo hunt in raids, the best way to do it is legendary raids. I have a lot of shundos from legendary raids, and the reason why is because the IV floor is 10-10-10, which means you have a 1 in 216 chance at a hundo. But the shiny rates are the highest in the game at 1 in 20, which means your shundo odds in a legendary raid, where the raid boss can be shiny, of course, is 1 in 4,320. So if you look at my shundos, I have a handful from legendary raids, like this shundo Kyogre, this shundo Heatran, and this shundo Darkrai. Oh yeah, also this Tapu Koko. Ugh, what a weird. So raids are extremely overpowered, but of course, legendary raids, very, very expensive to do, especially in 2026. So if you want to hunt it, you're going to have to invest. But the next way is free, and it's much easier to get a shundo. Special trading a shiny Pokemon. Every day, you typically get 1 special trade. Sometimes you'll get 2, depending on the season bonuses, but this basically means you and a friend can trade a shiny Pokemon, and you should always use your daily shiny Pokemon special trade. Here's why. When trading with a best friend, this is specifically for best friends, so make sure you level up your friendship with people, your IV floor is 5-5-5, which means your hundo odds are 1 in 1,331. And since you're trading a shiny, those are also your shundo odds. So special trading a shiny Pokemon with a best friend gives you a shundo potential of 1 in 1,331, the second best in the entire game. And the great thing here too is when you're trading with somebody, you re-roll the IVs of a shiny. So if you have a terrible shiny and you trade it to me, it might make it very good. So it's a way to like recycle shiny Pokemon to make them potentially meta relevant. And now the best way to get a shundo in Pokemon Go, well, the second best way. The first best way I'll explain. But the second best way to get a shundo in Pokemon Go is through lucky trades. This is when you and a friend become lucky friends and then trade a shiny Pokemon. And there's a couple of ways to become lucky friends in Pokemon Go. Of course, there's the regular way of becoming best friends with someone, which is just a bunch of daily interactions until your friendship level gets to best friends. And then once you're best friends, daily interactions until you randomly become lucky friends. So that's helpful. Or you can use a brand new item in the Pokemon Go world, the Lucky Trinket, which is so overpowered, but it's a premium item, which means to get it, actually, there might be one here in my Go Pass February. I claimed all this, right? The way to get a Lucky Trinket is basically by going into your Go Pass, which is in your events tab, and then you'll typically have to buy the upgraded deluxe version and work through your Go Pass until you get to rank 100, in which you typically get, okay, so it looks like there's no Lucky Trinket for this specific Go Pass, but where the 200 Pokecoins are is usually where the Lucky Trinket would be. But the Lucky Trinket is great because it allows you and anybody on your friends list to become lucky friends. You don't have to be best friends with them, I don't think. And the beautiful thing about lucky trades is the IV floor for them is 12-12-12, which gives you a 100% IV chance of 1 in 64. So if you lucky trade a shiny Pokemon with a friend, you have a 1 in 64 chance of getting a shundo, which is why when you look at my 12 shundos, I have 1 shiny lucky trade, which was the Rayquaza. I also have a Shundo Gigalith from a lucky trade, a Shundo Mareep, and these are technically called Schlundos, shiny lucky hundo, if you want to be technical. And my crown jewel, my Schlundo Pseudo Wudo, which is my favorite Pokemon ever, through a lucky trade with Fleece King, which was a crazy moment. But there's one more strategy that is the best way to get a Shundo in Pokemon Go, and it became a thing in 2025, and that's bottle caps. There's two kind of bottle caps that you can get in Pokemon Go. The silver bottle cap, which allows you to max out one specific IV. So if you look at my shiny lucky hundo Mewtwo, you can see that there's like a little weight lifting, like a dumbbell icon next to the defense stat. And that's because when I lucky traded this Mewtwo, it was a 15, 10, 15. So the attack stat was at 15, it was all maxed out. The HP stat was at 15, it was all maxed out. But the defense stat was at 10, so it wasn't a Shundo, unfortunately. So I got a silver bottle cap, and I used it on this Mewtwo, which allowed me to max out one stat, the defense stat, making it a Shundo. And we also have the golden bottle cap, which I used on this shiny background, which are very rare, shiny background Zacian. As you can see, there are 3 dumbbells, one on each stat, and that's because a golden bottle cap allows you to get each and every one of those stats all the way up to 15 so that you can make any Pokemon a 100% IV Pokemon or any shiny Pokemon a Shundo. And the way you get these bottle caps in Pokemon Go is also through your Go Pass, and they typically cost like, sometimes they were $8 or $15 or $20, it kind of depends. But they're definitely expensive, they're definitely rare, and they are only released a couple times a year max. And the reason why is because they guarantee you a Shundo, but you do have to pay for it. But let me tell you, after years and years, 10 years of Pokemon Go and only 12 Shundos in my account, $20 to guarantee a Shundo is probably the cheapest Shundo you'll ever get. Let me know in the comments how many Shundos you have in your account, and check out these other videos for more tips and tricks for Pokemon Go. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.